Hello, for gaming community and Beyblade community as a whole. We are back for yet again another podcast. This time we have another very, very, very special guest from overseas. Um, he's a Beyblader, introduced from Mike to me, and he's a well-known organizer on his scene in his area. I honestly have a lot of respect for him, which he probably doesn't know yet, but we're gonna get that back to that. We're going to get to that later on in the show. Um, as far as announcements, I don't think I have anything. We're just doing tournaments, having fun. We had our Beyblade X. We did a little giveaway for our Discord, so join our Discord if you can. The giveaway's over. The time period. I need to announce the winner. I got to do that. I've just been busy. Sorry about that. But yeah, without further ado, what's up, brother? My bad. My phone is acting up. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Beyblade 101.
Yes. Hi, I'm Beyblade 101. You can call me by my real name, Yasin, Yasin. I'm a Beyblader. I'm 19 years old. I just recently turned 19.
Oh,
And
happy birthday.
Thank you. And I've been playing Beyblade Burst competitively since 2017 in WBBA tournaments. Yep.
WBBA.
And
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Continue. And Metal Fight. I started Metal Fight just recently. Yeah, I just want to add that.
Recently started Metal Fight. All right. So what brought you to the WBO?
I've always been on WBO since 2016. That's the creation year of my account, if I'm not wrong. I used to go by Ya.Dama. I was playing Kendama back then, so I named it named my WBO username after like my Kendama name. For those who don't know Kendama, it's like a wooden toy with like three cups, one spike, and like a ball that you can like bring up, and a string. It's connected by a string. Have you all heard of Kendama?
It sounds like something I've heard of, but I've never like heard the name.
You said it's three balls. No, but explain.
It's like a wooden stick, but there's on the bottom side there's like a concave cup, and there's also a cup at two sides, and then at the top of the stick is like a spike, and then a string connects it to a ball, so you can do like different tricks on it. I don't want to get too deep into that, but like
oh, that's what you played initially.
Yeah, that was just for fun. It was a trend in Singapore. I still play it casually nowadays, but not really. I'm focused on Beyblade. Anyway, yeah. So I named myself after that. So Yasin and Kendama. So Ya.Dama. But that was in 2016. I joined the WBO because it was just a forum filled with like bladers like overseas. You know, looking at threads. I was like, yeah, okay, competitive Beyblading. At the time, I didn't know like tournaments exist and stuff. And I was very young. I was like 2016. I was like 12 years old, I think. Yeah. So.
Yeah, man, we're getting old, Mike. I was thinking about that.
God damn. I'm so sorry.
yeah. So, no, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I created my account. Then fast forward to 2017. I found like WBBA tournaments at my area. So I started blading, and then I'm losing my point. Damn.
No, you're good.
I'm losing my trail of thoughts. Okay, so
I guess he asked what brought you to the WBO, and then you kicked it off on how you got into Beyblade, and then you were doing WBA. Right, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to talk too much about WBBA. So I've been playing WBBA, and I kind of ignored WBO for a bit until like 2019 and 2020, around there. I think in COVID, because I was damn bored. Like I was like doing nothing at home, just playing Beyblade and some private run tournaments with COVID. Like obviously we follow COVID like regulations and stuff like that. So, but yeah, we still had private tournaments. I used the WBO to like research on like combos and like best combos and stuff like that, because sometimes I like different inputs as well. So that's when I started using the WBO a bit more regularly up until 2021. That's when I became super active in the WBO. I think I joined the WBO Discord in 2021. I can't remember which month, but yeah, it was at first I joined the Discord, right, the WBO Discord, and it was like I didn't really use it too much. Then no, I think it's not because I just don't use the Discord app at all. So I just used yeah, I just ignored the WBO Discord after joining. And then after for a while, I don't know what brought me back, but I just decided to hop back on Discord anyway. Then I started talking to people, and that's how I got really active in the WBO, especially on Discord. And talking to y'all made me realize that y'all play a different format and a different
Metagame.
different
Mhm.
yeah, different meta. The meta was similar, but at the same time different. Is because y'all have different rules and stuff. Because y'all are community run, right? So a lot of times the rules are adjusted to make the gameplay fair and balanced and as fun as possible, right?
Yes.
Right.
Right. And yeah, so that's how I got involved in like this kind. I just want to see how y'all play. And after like I think when did I become organized? Okay, I applied for organizer I think in like late 2021. Wait, this is 20. No, sorry. Sorry, late 2022. Like all the way until like late 2022, I applied to be an organizer when I was like really active in this the WBO and the Discord, because I was thinking like, hey, like a lot of times when people host like private tournaments in my area, like in Singapore, uh, it was kind of like a spin off of like WBBA tournaments. How do I say this? Like it'll be just be like WBBA tournaments, but with slight change in rules. But the entire gameplay was the same. You get what I mean? So I
Yeah.
Yeah.
was, yeah,
Yeah.
so I was like, it's a bit boring. I want to try something new. So I see that reading the rule book of WBO, I realized y'all play a different style, like a completely different style. Especially like what brought me one of the things that brought me like I want to host WBO tournaments. I love the finals format. I love the deck finals. I think that's a very fair way of playing.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think that deck finals, especially with the strategizing and counter picking,
Mhm.
is a really neat way to play Beyblade. Like unlike 5G or 3-on-3 or P3C1, even uh that got me like thinking I should be an organizer. I wanna expose my Beyblade scene right now to a very different but yet fair Beyblade scene. Something that the overseas Beybladers are playing with, right? So yeah, so that's when I started becoming an organizer. That's when I applied. And I passed the quiz, Shindok interviewed me and blah blah. And from then on, yeah, I've organized 3 tournaments so far
How did
Solid.
they?
for
How
WBO.
did the tournaments go? The WBA
Huh?
tournaments. How
So,
successful were the WBA tournaments?
uh, the first one was really successful. I think a lot of my Beyblade regulars and friends just wanted to support me making it, and they really enjoyed it. In fact, what's the cap for first
24.
24, right?
Yeah.
I didn't expect to reach 24. I was thinking like 16 max. But oh my god, you reached. No, there were like at least 25 or 26 people who wanted to join. And I thought oops, the cap has been reached, bro.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was so wild. Yeah. Uh that my friends really love the way I'm like trying to be different, at least like the way I'm organizing tournaments. They see me as the WBO guy.
The WBO
That's
guy.
that's definitely solid. I like it's nice that the WBO is over there because the WBBA is so heavy, like you had mentioned. So for you to be able to do that and to still have a solid turnout is great. I like that you like the deck format, and if I'm jumping ahead, but I had to say this because one of the biggest reasons why I wanted you over here was for your comment that you made about deck. Because not too long ago, I was thinking because WBO it is fan ran fan organization, and they recently changed the ranking structure to have like in first stage
format.
now the formats, because it used to just be 1v1 as far as like for bursts and what we played, and then they implemented 3v3 and pick three choose one. And I was going to put up a thread about doing that for finals, and I initially put it in a Discord in the organized circle on WBO to see if anyone had already asked that or if that was a question, because I didn't know. And the comments in there, a couple of people commenting this and that, and I'm not really in there, so I didn't see everything. And then Mike hit me up and was like, "You had a great point," and this is what I was talking about, like my respect or my admiration had rose when you said that the deck format was the standard in the WBO for our ranking system. And I guess to put that into context or put that in the sense, like we have a lot of debates right now about ranked and how we have classic and limited and burst and all these different formats and things like that. But you were like, the deck format is the standard, because no matter what format you're playing or no matter what tournament you're in, the finalists are always going to play deck format. So when I looked at it like that, I was like, man, that does in some way validate, even if not the points, like just having those gold, silver, or bronze bits validates your skill as a blader, because you're able to go there to play the most balanced and complete format, which is deck, and still come out on top. So it's kind of like a lot of my arguments with ranker, things like that, it's like it kind of went out the window just from that one comment and that realization that, like, hey, the deck format is our balanced structure as far as competitive play that everyone in the WBO plays when it comes to finals. And thank you for that. Like, that gave me a lot of insight, and I'm glad that you love that format. I just want to say that I appreciate that so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I really do love it. Yeah. I think it's the best format, like in Beyblade period. When it kind of, how do I say it? Because the luck factor in deck format is minimized, right? I mean, like you can't completely eliminate luck, but it's still there. But it's very minimized and more relied on your skill, strategy, the theory of the game, right? Like you can't just run attack types all the time, can't run just defense types all the time, etc. You gotta know what your opponent is picking and the counter pick. Or if you're the winner, you gotta make sure you pick the safest combo, etc. etc. There's a lot of thinking, the thought process. I think it really shows the skill of a blader. Not only in terms of physical, but in terms of like how you strategize.
Yeah,
Uh,
deck format is very skill intensive. It is.
It is.
You have to think a lot when playing it. The only time I think deck format was the worst was, what was it? Right when Metal Drift came out, because then you had double drift and then like a regular stamina combo being played. Like you had a right and left spin drift. And that was the only time deck format was just like super terrible to where I hated it, because all it was just opposite spin drift matchups the entire time.
It was stale. It was
Yeah.
real.
And from that is, I think, a little bit afterwards
Let's
when
just
we
a
got
burst
the battle
problem.
limit.
I get it.
Yeah.
The battle limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I always push for like driver variant rules sometimes too, because I think being able to play multiple versions of the same driver is pretty toxic.
Yeah. Well, I can say that like it did end up working out, but I don't want to cut you off. You go ahead. Beyblade 101.
No, because like his point was abandoning the driver variations, but they will cut off like extreme dash and extreme and metal extreme, so it's a bit far fetched. Because you might try to fix one problem and create another issue. There's not enough attack types instead.
Yeah. And I think that was the argument when it did happen. And
I wasn't there, so I don't know.
That was the biggest argument. The biggest argument was just that it limits attack more than it limits stamina, which is not incorrect, but at the same time, I do believe like quick dash is, just as viable as extreme dash. So, and if we're only playing with 3 Beyblades, I mean, if you're playing with 3 attack types, I don't know. I don't feel like you're gonna do as well as someone that utilizes stamina as well.
Yeah. Well, man, I gotta say something. I gotta shout out. And this is probably a shout out for Bearing Drift. But I just got smashed in a tournament, which you talking about deck and how balanced it is. Because pick three, choose one is very strategical, but I think it gives a big disadvantage to the less experienced players, and also the fact that you get stuck. So it's like deck. You don't get stuck in deck, which is nice. I was winning a tournament. I was winning a match. I was 3-0. I got a burst, and then I got a KO. And then Fireblade 07 came back and he swept me. Shame on me, whatever, this and that. 5-0. Well, he ended up winning 5-3, but he swept me 5 points using his extreme combo. And I had some stamina in there. I don't have Bearing Drip, but I think even if I did, because he had it, and that's how I got my KO. So having those double variants or having deck format, it does pull out more skill and more strategy, and it does let you come back for a win. Because typically 3-0, I should have won that, but I lost, and I lost hardcore, pretty much getting 5
Yeah.
straight points. So,
losing to a skilled blader feels much more like it feels, how to say it,
It
like,
doesn't feel as bad.
yeah, it doesn't feel as bad. Like, you were like, okay, I lost, but it was to a good blader. He was skilled. It was very little luck involved.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
like,
wasn't like a luck factor why you lost. It was just, or like, man, I just chose the wrong combo and now I'm stuck. It is what it is.
That's one thing about Beyblade I really like. You don't get as tilted when you lose to someone that you know is a good Beyblader. You only get tilted when you lose to something that, like, randomly, a same spin stamina matchup, you got KO'd, and your
oh,
opponent's not really that great, but it just
it's
happened that way.
it's like freaking random kid phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
RKP.
The-
It
when,
happens so
when,
often, bro. In
when, when,
G-Force and like stuff. In like G3, I remember. I think a new kid like sorry, this is talking about a bit of WBBA, a bit of tangent, but
No,
like
you're good. You're good.
uh this is the biggest random kid phenomenon I've ever seen. A kid because it's 5G, right? It was a G3 tournament. And for the qualifying, right, this kid almost made it into qualifying, like for the top 16, but he lost the final round. Basically, first two matches. Yeah, first two matches. He won with the first three bays were like Chosy Valkyrie. I think he got a perfect Phoenix and some other whack bay, like not a DB, not even a Super King bay. It was like a GT or like Chosy bay.
Yeah.
And he swept everyone like 3-0. All he did was launch forward, like legally, but he launched like lunge it forward. And it went for a straight KO. That's really funny.
oh,
That was legal.
he sniped him.
That
He
was
sniped him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was very close at the end. I think he almost made it to qualifying, but he lost. I think the last person was like aware that he won the first two matches. There's like he was being extra careful. But yeah, random kid phenomenon, man. Sorry, carry on to the previous.
Well,
No,
no,
you're
the,
good.
the true random kid phenomenon was like with Rage and Guilty, because kids would show up with them as stock, and they're like such decent combos, but they would
Ah.
win off of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think it is funny. I don't think this kind of thing should happen. At least the chances of this like random kid phenomenon shouldn't happen as much in finals, which is why I'm glad that exists.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I feel I mean it still can happen, but like well, I mean if a kid 5-0s you because of random kid phenomenon, then I don't know what to say. Maybe you're just not that skilled in the first
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5 points,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Yeah. That is quite factual. Typically, like you will have it. Mostly I think in first stage. Like sometimes it just goes bad. But in
Yeah.
deck,
I mean burst finishes are
deck,
2 points. If you're unlucky, then I guess
yeah,
happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if fully in deck, it's like I at least with me, like even though deck is it's like the finals and it's stressful, I get to relax a little bit more because I know that I have more control of the match than I do when
Right.
stage. Yeah, yeah. So
This
um
despite everything I've talked about deck, I have to admit I still suck very much at deck. Really, the previous Meta Fight tournament, right? The Meta Fight Limited, it was a group round robin, right? So it's I think a 14-player tournament, so 7 in one group and 7 in the other group round robin. I got second place in my round robin. I think I had like 3 wins, 2 loss. A lot of people had 3 wins, 2 loss, so it was a tiebreaker thing. We had to do a tiebreaker. Yeah, I got second place. I won both of them. Two other people got the same score as I did. Which is fine. Which means I was consistent in P3C1. However, I got completely trashed in deck. I lost. I got 4th place. I can't remember the scores I got, but I just made poor decisions. I realized. And because I'm new to Meta Fight, and playing attack in Meta Fight is a bit different playing attack in burst. The feeling is different. I didn't have the muscle memory. Then I'm still learning to this day. So but yeah, it made like when I lost, I didn't feel a sense of like anger. Instead, I felt like okay, it was my fault. I made poor decisions. I saw the matches happening. I was like, damn, I shouldn't have picked that B, or damn, I should have launched like that, etc., etc. Right? So it made me, it gave me a chance to improve myself because I know what went wrong. Unlike like if I had like P3C1 for finals, that would be so bad. Alright.
Yeah. I had
Totally unlucky.
I had thrown that proposal up because of time. I was running into some issues as far as my finals lasting for so long, but I think there are other factors in why my finals are lasting longer than the deck format. It's mainly just the heavy contesting that's been going on with my last couple of tournaments that we could discuss a little bit later. But yeah, it is a better feeling with deck because you do feel like, you know, it's self-reflection. It's like, shoot, it's unless you just choose 3 trash combos and you didn't prepare for the one combo that they had, that like if you go with 3 right spins, and like this was back when drip was really heavy, if you go into a deck match and you have 3 right spin and Beyblades and they have 1 good left spin and Beyblade on drip, that's kind of your fault, you know. And then but even still, in that point, you just know next time when you build up your deck that you need to prepare for that and have some balance for that. Like I know when I lost last time, it's like, yeah, I should have changed up some of my launches. We talked about it later. Like he was paying attention, which he should have, to my attack combo, where it was going, because he got the KOs on me there. I was launching too soft with my stamina combo. But it's like you said, yeah, you go back to the lab and you come back and you play a little bit better next time and hopefully get the overall win. It's growing pains, but they're good growing pains. You don't feel like crappy because it's like, oh man, I just lost 5-3, or I just lost 5-0 or whatever because of luck. You know, it's not like that.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
So do you right now, how is your, I guess, your overall community? I know you hit on it a little bit more, a little bit, but are the tournaments, are they staying consistent, or is it less people showing up, or right now, just because Beyblade has kind of stopped, are people like not involved with WBO and WBBA?
I think WBBA is slowly decreasing. I've seen since 2017, I've seen a good amount of good number of regulars come and go. Sadly, but the overall like net number of people coming is increasing. I think it reached the peak in Chozi era. GT and Super King, there were no tournaments because of COVID, unfortunately. But yeah, Chozi, there was even like international tournaments, G1s, G2s, etc. Like basically atrium events. Yeah, atrium tournaments in the malls. But that was the peak. Okay, so and then talking about now, it's definitely decreasing. I wouldn't say regulars are quitting, but they're coming less and less. For WBBA tournaments, the last time we had it, Oh no, I was celebrating Hari Raya. What do you call it? What do you Westerners call it? Eid, right? Eid. Yeah. Eid Fitri. Yeah. Malays have a different way of saying it, Hari Raya. So yeah, I was celebrating my holiday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I haven't seen the numbers in a while, but they've decreased a bit compared to, let's say, starting of DB.
Mm-hmm.
In WBO, yeah, they've decreased a couple bit. I mean, I had to cancel my BDR-less tournament. It was supposed to happen like tomorrow, but the kids are having exams. Some people are celebrating their holidays, and the regulars are just not free tomorrow,
Yeah.
sadly.
Yeah.
And it's okay, it's okay. So I was like, oh, whatever, because I at least needed like 8 people, and only like 6 or 7 registered. I was like, whatever. I'll probably have to stay another day next month. But yeah, I can't really comment too much on WBO. I hope the numbers increase again. I don't think I will get like 24. No, getting 24 is almost like next to impossible. But I'd love to get like numbers like 12 to 15, 12 to 16. Next tourney, I think it can happen. Yeah.
So would you say WBBA is more popular over there than WBO?
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
it's more of a
that's just what they're used
people are
to.
used to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Number one, people are used to WBBA. Number two, it's a bit hard to get the word across.
yeah.
For my W tournaments. I mean, I have Instagram page, sure, but most of these are just kids with parents who are not very involved in Beyblade, so they don't follow my Instagram account or just join WBO or whatever, right?
Yeah. I can
Yes.
see- I think.
So it's I mean, I sometimes do bring the word out to like in G4 events, but at the same time, this happens very occasionally. Most of the time I'm working as a game master, as a judge, right? And I can't do that, man. I'm
Yeah.
promoting my own tournaments while I'm working officially. I mean, if I come as like a if I come to the tournaments as a like
Player.
non yeah, as a player, correct. I usually do that, but if not, then I can't do that.
I,
So, so over there with WBBA, when you're a judge, you don't play at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does
I,
that upset you sometimes, or
Hmm?
does,
are you
Sorry.
okay with that?
Am I okay with that? I guess I am.
I mean,
Judges.
like when you go to judge, are you just like, man, I kind of wish I was playing instead of judging?
Uh, Not really,
Not
because
really.
G-Force happen every weekend, and if you went to a Beyblade tournament every weekend, if you travel like 1 hour to the the tournament and then 1 hour back, and you just play Beyblade like for like what 12 to 6 p.m. every single weekend, and sometimes I go twice in a week, right? So Saturday, Sunday, you get fatigued a lot.
Mm.
And I do. I love Beyblade. I still do, but I get fatigued. And like I'll be like, yeah, I'm glad I'm judging. At least I'm not playing. So
So
uh,
I guess that's the difference, James, as to why like over in WBBA it's easier to just have people be a judge for a day because they're playing it every week.
Yeah. Yeah. I
mm,
can see that. I can see that 100% because I like as soon as he said it, I could see it. I'd be like, man, I just want to judge today. I don't feel like dealing with the stress
Yeah.
of
yeah.
playing on the fatigue. I did have a question with it though. Do you have to are there like tests or like requirements that you have to do to whether it be host the tournament, like the organizer, or even to become a judge? Or is it just like, hey, if you've been playing, then you get to do it? Or like, how do y'all figure that out as far as the organization with that?
Okay. So usually how do you be a judge? Right now, cause we have a good amount of judges already, so yeah, we don't hire anymore. Uh, but if you want to be a judge, you just have to at least be a regular, and
Uh-huh.
we see you're good enough, and you're kind of not not a jerk. Yeah, basically not a jerk, and you have a good amount of Beyblade knowledge, and we'll probably notice you and pick you up and ask
Oh,
if you're interested. But that's if the higher ups are deciding to hire someone new.
So when you say hire, do they pay you to do the judging?
Yeah, we get paid.
Oh,
Uh,
dang.
Bro,
it's not a big amount
That's why.
overall.
That's
it
why they
doesn't
don't
matter
care.
if
They
it's a
don't
big
play.
amount.
Like I'm gonna say.
It doesn't matter if
Yeah,
it's a big amount or not. Free money's free money. Like,
Yeah, yeah. That's a big factor too. It's like, yeah, I don't mind. Well, I mean, I try to look out for my judges. I'll give them like a story discount or something like that. But yeah, money at the regionals, I did give them. I paid for their ticket to get in, but it's like, yeah, like, dude, I'd gladly relax and judge if I was getting paid, like, no matter what the amount. Yeah, that's more than expensive, because it is hard work. It is hard work.
it is. It is. We talk to customers a lot too. Um, Dealing with kids, registration, checking of files. It's a mental toll. But
yeah,
it's like I don't really work for the money. It'd be stupid to work for the money because it's only number one, it's only a weekend's job, and I
Hmm.
work 12 to 7 each day,
Hmm.
so there'll be 14 hours a weekend. Yeah,
Yeah.
14 hours a week. It's not a lot. Number two, you don't get to work every weekend. Because we have like not really a roster. Like the higher ups will decide like will ask who's free this weekend, and or they will usually just assign like two judges to judge on a weekend,
Okay.
and yeah, so it's like you take turns lah. I usually work like a max of 2 weekends per
Hmm.
month. So it's okay. So this weekend I'll play, then next weekend I'll work, and next weekend I'll play. So it's like it happens to most judges too lah.
yeah. But we're just getting at the point is still like when you actually give your time over to judge, you're at least getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
Yeah.
it's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
because like for us, like you kind of get forced to judge out of necessity rather than like it being any benefit to you. It's like, look, man, if you don't judge, the tournament's just probably not happening. So then you're just like, well, I guess I gotta judge then.
Yeah. Um,
I get it.
I get it though. Yeah, it's not all about the money. You do love the game, and I
Mm.
appreciate that. I think we all have that
Yeah.
mentality. Is a nice incentive. I have a further question though. I guess to host for your, and if you don't know, it's fine. But like the store that you're at that's hosting the G4 tournaments, do they have like do they have to do they have to take a test or get permission from like Takara Tomy to host these G4 events, or like what is the
Okay.
process of that?
Yes, I do know the process. Okay. A common misconception people have is WBBA tournaments are hosted by Takara Tomy. Uh, it's it's not correct because it's actually outside Japan. Outside of Japan, I want to say outside of Japan and maybe outside of the other major countries like Hong Kong or Taiwan. I'm not sure about that. But the smaller like Beyblade communities, like small Beyblade markets in like Philippines, like in Papa Bay, right, for example, or Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand. I'm pretty sure Thailand too. I'm not sure about Indonesia. I think Indonesia is lacking behind a lot. But okay, regardless, it's hosted by the distributor, the official distributor. Takara Tomy kind of has nothing to do with like tournaments, at least from what I know. I'm hired by my distributor. I'm not hired by Takara Tomy.
Oh,
So
okay.
my official Beyblade distributor in Singapore is Shanghai Toys. I'm hired by them, and then we run like tournaments. So we run tournaments on Toys R Us. I'm pretty sure it's like a partnership because the distributor Shanghai Toys also sells Beyblade products in Toys R Us, right? And to
Mhm.
promote the Beyblade products, to sell the product, right? We host tournaments. Hence my official job description as a toy promoter.
Mm.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that's
okay.
that's my job scope. Just to host video tournaments and talk to customers, etc. Yeah. Sorry, what's
Man,
your question again? Get back to the point.
no. That I mean
Yeah.
that I mean I don't honestly, I don't remember the question. That just had my brain racing at 1,000 miles per minute. Because like it just had me thinking. What? Okay, yeah. So the original question was, how do the stores, how do they host a WBBA tournaments? Do they have to have permission from Takara Tomy?
Oh no. Okay,
This,
so
that?
Shanghai. It's not. It's the other way. My distributor has to probably ask permission from Toys R Us to host a
Oh,
tournament at the place, because I
so
believe the items sold in Toys R Us are consignment. I believe. So it's like Shanghai selling it. Yeah,
okay.
it's not under
So
Toys R Us. Nothing Beyblade is under Toys R Us.
solid. Yeah. So with that, like our Toys R Us, they're gone here. I think we only have one within the United States. But Mike and it's fun. We're talking about WBBA, WBO. We're just discussing Beyblade, so it doesn't have to stick on one topic. But Mike, this made me just think like, if like with the WBBA thing, I wonder because like our distributor, even though they don't sell to Karatomi, like would we have to reach out to Hasbro to be able to do that? You know, like could we do that? Because our distributor technically could be Hasbro, and if, I mean, we can hop into Beyblade X a little bit later, but if it is going global, I wonder if Hasbro will be offering that. If it's like, hey, like if I go to my local hobby shop, can you sponsor this event to be able to get like some of those nicer prizes or even just to have that like type of thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was
I
just,
mean, but at the same time, this is that thing too that makes me think. Well, if the Karatomi does go global with selling the product, like what needs to be done for WBBA to reach the states?
yeah. And it's like, it is because like and thank you so much for pointing that out because I thought I did initially think it was Takara Tomy that was doing all of these events and
It is in Japan. Oh, okay. Okay. Carry on first. I need to talk about a bit about Japan
okay.
later.
Oh. So I was saying, what you say? You told me to carry on with what I was saying.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So once I found out, once you said that, I mean, it makes a lot of sense because I know there are sister companies. Like I know, Hong Kong is distributor. They have Manny Limited, and um,
Mm.
I know there's other stores in different countries. But I didn't know that, or other distributors in various countries. I didn't know it was as organized as it was. I thought Takara Tomy was just handling it all. And I know Hasbro is here in the United States, but we have it's a different brand of Beyblades. Like everything is plastic. Like they have no metal on them at all, except for the Pro Series, which just came out. And now thinking about it, Mike, that could have been a test run to see what the community liked or anything like that. And even if it wasn't the sales, like there was a lot of feedback, like, yeah, we're getting some of the super old stuff. Because I think we're in DB or Sparking when Pro Series came out, and they were releasing the like Chozi
Yeah,
GT.
we were in DB, the beginning of
Yeah.
DB.
And it was like, and we noticed that, but we would like to play. But if they were having them on the shelves and we're able to host them, and like it's like, hey, yeah, I'm here representing Hasbro to host this WBBA tournament or whatever. If that was something that could play out, because it makes more sense. Or it feels like it could be something possible. Because if Hasbro's not doing it, like Takara Tomi's not in
Yeah,
every country hosting these events, maybe we could reach out to get that done
but
if we wanted to do that.
But you know what this makes me think of? The reason why I think they're able to do it in these other countries is because toy stores still exist. Here in
Yeah,
the States, you don't really have any toy stores. Like Walmart and Target is your toy store, and they're just mega superstores. They're not actual just toy
Oh,
stores.
yeah.
right.
Because I think when we did have it, like when we talked to Kay and some of the like old school bladers that did go to Hasbro events, they were at like Toys R Us. They were at
Yeah.
the stores.
Yeah, there's no place that you could host a tournament now that is just a toy store or anything.
You
Yeah,
can't
but
host it on Walmart. That would be stupid, right?
yeah, but
Yeah.
But I have seen.
Imagine you're in the watermelon aisle and then just people
Uh,
playing Beyblade.
yeah, but
That's
but I
stupid.
but I have seen like weird things like that, like at Target, like at a local
Mm.
Target when I was younger, like they used to have some functions. It wasn't Beyblade. And when I was younger, when we played Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, we used to play in a Books a Million. We played in a bookstore. It wasn't a card game shop. It was representatives from I don't think it was Konami at that time. It was way back. Who had it before then? Was it
Oh.
Upper Deck?
Yeah, Upper Deck.
Mike? Um, Maybe representatives from that, and they would come, and it was at a Books a Million, and they promoted it, and the kids would come there, and we would play. And I have some local bookstores in my area that like they have some vintage things, and they were willing to let me host my event. Um, so we could, yeah, we wouldn't have the toy store, but we could still have a platform to, I guess, some way promote or play if it was possible. I guess to say it's out there, or even just our local hobby shops. I would say our hobby shops are probably the closest we have to toy stores now. Mike, what you think?
Yeah, that is the closest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Yes.
hobby shops are fine. Yeah.
yeah,
They
basically at that point there, like the hobby shops will need to start showing a bigger interest in selling the product, and then that's how like the distributors would be able to be like, okay, well, start hosting tournaments there and promote the
yes.
product.
Yeah.
If
No.
that were possible, I believe that should be to sell. I'm not sure how many distributors are in your country, but I think yeah, that would be
Yeah.
great actually.
Yeah.
I think
Isn't that like what Beyblade Premier is doing? I'm not sure. I mean, I know they host under WBO, but where do they host their tournaments exactly?
Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, yeah, but like, is it like in toy stores or
No.
No,
like
he rents out like a convention center and stuff like that.
Mhm.
oh big events, right? Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll be at like convention
that's a
centers,
different story then.
at a hotel, like a ballroom.
Lobby. Oh,
Yeah, like a lobby and things like that. And that's what I'll have it,
ooh,
not really in um like in these stores. Like some tournaments do get held in stores, but they're typically stores that don't sell Beyblade. Um, but then again, like Beyblade, even though it's big to us, it's really small because I went to a convention. It was a gaming convention, and I mean they got every game from Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, all the way to like Rocket League tournaments, Dragon Ball Z tournaments, sim car racing. No one was playing Beyblade, and when I asked them if I could host a tournament, they were like, "Yeah, fine." They were asking me like, hey, "Do you need help with promotion?" I was like, "Yeah, you could definitely promote. I would appreciate it." But I was also on the WBO. I had my Instagram and like our newsletter. So when we had the event, it was a great turnout. Like I kept it for 24 because I really couldn't handle more than that with the amount of judges and me being an organizer. But a lot of people
yeah,
showed up.
that's all. Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of people showed up. So once they and then the convention organizer saw that, and he was like, dang, like he got intrigued by Beyblade, and he was like, oh, next year, like you definitely, we want you to come back. We're gonna help and this and that. Just from him seeing it, it was eye opening. So, and I think that's the thing. Like a lot of people, like I go to some stores and I'm like, hey, I want to host a Beyblade tournament, and they look at me funny. They're like, no, dude, we're all about Yu-Gi-Oh. We're all about Pokemon or Magic or whatever. And I'll be like, okay, and I step out. But the people that do come to our tournaments and do see the turnout, because they're thinking in business terms and with money, so they will actually
Yeah,
like I've had,
numbers. Yeah.
yeah, they're looking at numbers and they'll ask me like, hey, can you come to my store and host a tournament? Because they want to get the sales and this and that, which is fun, when they're looking at it that way and is actually helpful for the community. But I think it's just it is from us getting out and playing in the park sometimes so some people can see. And even if we were out in Target, because even if like we were just in a back corner at Target or something, like just for the kids that see that, like you think of the kids that are all walking on the toy aisles and they're like, oh, they're actually having a tournament. Like this is something from my dreams. Like I'm definitely coming back next weekend to be able to play. And that will grow it. But it's something that we don't really do here. We just have the WBO, which isn't a bad thing, but I don't know. You really got my wheels turning, man, and that's something definitely. I'm definitely looking forward to, especially with the new release because it's a new jump start. If Takara Tomy is going global, and we have the distributors here, that would be sweet.
Yeah, that'll be dope. I hope your Beyblade community grows there. Yeah, Takara Tomy growing global. Would it happen?
It
I, hmm, sorry?
No, go ahead. What were you saying?
I don't know if because they have a partnership with Hasbro, right? I'm not sure how the business goes, but like I don't think Takara Tomy is going global anytime soon.
Well,
For at least for Beyblades.
That's
I
what the
think,
Beyblade X stuff all says, shipping globally.
yeah. So
Oh,
we
they
get,
are? Oh, I've
yeah.
not heard of it.
So you'll get the like we'll get like a spreadsheet, like some of like the stores, and we'll get spreadsheets from like our wholesalers and things like that.
Oh, that's
And the,
crazy.
yeah, and
So
the
Hasbro is
Beyblades.
not a part of this equation?
No,
I
no,
don't know.
Hasbro, huh?
I don't know. No one knows if Hasbro is part of the equation or not.
So
Okay.
and that's so right now this is all speculation because we know they did. Hasbro and Takara Tomy have dealings with their releases because Hasbro is the only other company that I know of. Like every other company that distributes Beyblade, they distribute Takara Tomy's brand, and they may have their they may be their own corporation, their own store, whatever, but they're distributing the Takara Tomy brand.
Like
Hasbro,
New Boy kind of thing, like in Sonocom.
yeah, yeah, but it's still they're still the TT bays, and they look just like the TT bays. Hasbro's the only one that's different. So you'll get like Los Longinus, and then like but Los Longinus is the Takara Tomy Beyblade, got metal on it, everything like that. But over here we'll get like Luinor, like Los Luinor. It's a name change, and then it'll also be like it's all plastic, like it's a
No metal.
completely different Beyblade, and they're both made in Vietnam, but one's manufactured for Hasbro, one's manufactured for Takara Tomy, and the sister companies and the other distributors. So,
And
what?
the weird thing is with Pro Series, it's made of poor quality plastic, despite it supposed being the same thing.
Yeah,
Pros,
because it's still being produced by Hasbro, and Hasbro is more about numbers in a worse scale than Takara Tomy is.
yeah, yeah,
Yikes! Then I thought because when Pro Series was a thing, like I thought they'd be using like the same mold, same plastic, like same everything. Why
That's
would
all
it be changed?
they're only using the same molds. They're just like, we'll use the same molds, but use a cheaper plastic because
That's
we want
crazy.
to say we want to sell them for $20 and make it only cost us $5 to make. Is
yeah,
basically where they're at.
yeah. And it's it's wild. It's something different. But I would say if they wanted to do it, and if they did that and it was a little bit cheaper, and they were consistent with their releases and they were able to sell it for a little bit cheaper, um, that could be something that could be a go-to and to help with the branding. But regardless, just from that spreadsheet, when I saw the global, I'm thinking that, or like we're thinking, or it's just speculation that Takara Tomy, they may still use Hasbro, but it's just the Hasbro name on it. Like New Boy's name is on it, but they're
It's not
selling.
PT based.
Yeah,
It's basically like how Takara Tomy takes Hasbro Transformer line and sells them over there, where it'll be the same way here. Hasbro's taking the Takara Tomy Beyblade line and just selling it over here. You're just
Yeah.
filtering through the other company. You're not actually, giving them rights to change your product anymore.
hmm
Mm,
and that would,
I hope that's the case.
I
Yeah,
think that would. Oh, go ahead.
that's just what I hope too. I just hope it's just they filter the same product through.
And I think that could help. It may even be able to help, like not just the online stores here, but also because if we were able to talk directly with Hasbro and to get, because we can sell Hasbro Beyblades, but they're for the competitive scene, because most of the stores, well, all the stores that sell the Takara Tomy Beyblades are catering to the competitors because we don't have easy access to them here. We have to import everything. But if Hasbro was able to get them and be like a distributor, like the distributor you have in your country, um, we could all work with Hasbro. It'd be the same as just a hobby shop, and we'd be able to distribute in that way, and it could be pushed out to the stores. It could just help grow Beyblade overall. But I wanted to ask, because I know you said you had something as far as Takara Tomy and the way that they manage things in Japan with the WBBA?
Oh, me? Right. However, in Japan, I think I told Mike about this. At least for G-Force, like the non-serious tournaments, like G-Force, the casual ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not run by distributor. It's not run by TT. It's actually run by store owners.
Mm.
Yeah, which is surprising. I don't when I found that out. But I think someone mentioned it. I think Kay mentioned it. I read it somewhere. But yeah, it's that's why there are so many G4 locations in like at one time in Japan. Like there are, if you go to the Sakura Tomy website, you can see the amount of locations they have, and I think 90% of them are only for kids. Like a very small percentage is allows adults to enter, which is funny. But unfortunate. But yeah, yeah, it's run by store owners, so
Dang.
that's why they have a lot of locations. Unlike okay, Singapore doesn't really matter. It's a small country. You can travel from one side of the country to the other in like 1 hour. But like in Malaysia, like they only have tournaments in like KL and that's it, kind of thing. They have like KL, sorry, Kuala Lumpur, if you didn't know. I mean they have other parts of Malaysia where they run community events, and the by the way, the community I would say in Malaysia is a little bit stronger than Singapore. They have a lot of community events there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the official like WBBA in like non-Japan is usually only restricted to like 1 or 2 locations per at a time.
Oh man.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
In Japan, it's run by store owners, so I'm not sure how the process goes to how to organize in Japan. That's something out of
Now,
my
are
bounds.
they allowed? Are G4 events? Are they allowed to tweak rules to specify their needs?
That's the thing. I am unsure of that.
Okay.
I mean, they shouldn't, right? So
Right.
that makes sense.
I
But
mean, because like I know, like you guys over there, you said you guys have the rules tweaked a little bit from Japan, because I know.
for us,
Right.
okay, I let me think. How do I phrase this? Okay, so when in 2017, my memory is a bit foggy, but like from what I remember, 2017, 2018, like when merge tournaments, like it was just phenomenal. I don't think there was a rule book like invented. At least even if there was, it wasn't like uh and like it wasn't promoted to the public at a time, so because it was very early stages, and the judges every time we did like a weird launch, we call it foul launch now, they will always give us a foul, right? I'm not sure if that happens in Japan, but I think it was due to like judges being kind here. So like, okay, kids mess up their launch, didn't go like half around like on the stadium. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Like the half around
Yeah.
pause thing. Uh, etc. Just try to give kids the chance. One foul launch, 2 foul launch, 3 foul launch. Okay, then you're out. So judges, when they give way like that, like over time, it builds up a tradition. And
Right.
it's not part of the rulebook yet. No, nobody mentioned the rulebook. It's just I think it started to be like a judge where they tell each other, okay, this is how I give foul launches. And
Okay.
the judges will keep telling other judges this, and like older judges, they come and go. Especially by the way, because Shanghai Toy is a business sidetrack. A lot of judges are interns actually back then.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, they're internships. So actually, it's kind of terrible because they know nothing about Beyblade. They're just hired by the company to judge. But it was okay. I guess. At least there were tournaments, so that was fine. But yeah, I think because due to all these factors and traditions, they keep going. That's when the foul launches started to become a thing, and now everyone just is used to it. So that's when like uh before tournaments started in 2021, because there was a gap in COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a call with the other GMs to discuss. Okay, we're gonna officially put the foul launches in the rulebook because it's been a tradition. Like, it wasn't in the rulebook, and we're just gonna revamp the entire thing so it includes every single detail as much as possible to
So
cover
now,
our butts when things get wrong. Yeah,
so,
sorry.
so do you guys have like a official translation of the Japanese rules that you guys then went off of, or?
I'm not gonna say much, but I'm just gonna say no. We don't have that.
Well, I mean, 'cause
Yeah,
I know that's like the hardest thing here too. Is like when we talk about WBBA rules, it's like, well, what is a WBBA rule? And I know there's the paper or the one page scan on the Takaratomi website that has the rules, but I can't read it. I don't know what it says.
yeah. None of us know
and,
what it
and,
says,
when,
right?
and when you put it into Google Translate, I still don't know what this thing is saying
Mumbo
to me.
jumbos, yeah,
So,
exactly. And even like you said, it's just one page. Even if you understood Japanese perfectly, those small details, like what happens if gatayaki happens, or like what if you just miss on stream to stadium, etc. Like you wouldn't know because the one page detail isn't enough. Like one
right,
page rule book isn't enough to cover everything. You have to
right,
actually go to Japan and see
right.
like
Yeah.
what happens to like niche scenarios. And the worst part is because it's run by store owners. Different store owners may have different rulings. Like whatever K says in his database.com may not be accurate to all parts of Japan.
Right.
They're running G4.
Because
So
I know like we've had a conversation before about in where you're at, you guys allowed the two draws move to the next bay, but
mm,
Japan does not do that.
yeah,
So
wait. Japan does it now, I think. I can't.
yeah, I
Mm,
don't know.
man,
I'm
Yeah.
I don't know either.
I'm pretty
Well,
sure
It is.
Japan just keeps going until there's a winner, so you never reshuffle.
I have to
eh,
confirm with uh someone. Yeah, we have to confirm with someone for that. Yeah, but yeah.
dude, talking and like discussing this now and just hearing about it. I just said three. I just spit out three sentences saying the same thing. But anyways, it's the community rules that y'all have there is to benefit your community because we have the same thing. Like here in North Carolina, it's like an unspoken rule. It's not in the rule book, but just how the organizers host and the judges. Because technically in the rule book, if you self KO, um, or your baby goes around just within a limited amount of time and it KOs, like we'll let you redo it. And that was for the little kids in the same way. And it's not in the rule book, it's
Mm,
spoken rule because we do have a little clause in there that for the organizer, you can change up some things to benefit your community. So it's just one of the things that we just do. So hearing you say that, it's like it's not so different. And I guess with that one page, like um that you had brought up, Mike, and I guess hearing about it more now, it is, yeah, it doesn't have some of those clauses and some of the issues that we run into. And I think TSO spoke on this, or like a lot of the old school bladers, when they talk about like Takara Tomy possibly overlook some of the things that some of the issues that we run into. So to hear that issues even within the WBBA, it makes like
Well,
some of the WBO not so wild.
I think one of the main things that causes the difference is the fact that over there, and I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when the judge makes the call, they don't argue half the time. Like that's the call. You live with it.
Yeah.
mm,
Does that happen?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like that's how it is over there.
Yeah. Pretty much the judge has the final call. In our rule book, actually, I think it's at the end. If you read our rule book, I think it's like judge has the final call. No, no, nothing will entertain. Something along the lines of there, in the miscellaneous section of our rule book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
We actually
we do have people like fighting over like once, like occasionally, very rarely, I'll say
Yeah,
actually.
but I think that's more of a cultural thing. Like
mhm.
over
Mm,
there, like you like here over here, it's no, I won that, and it's like, bro, the judge said different. I don't care. like
yeah, yeah,
like
that's definitely.
that is how it is here half the time, and it's just like because
It's,
we've there's been a lot more recently contesting going on, and I'm starting to get to the point where I'm going to just start pointing to the rule book where it says if you want to contest it, you have to go to through the WBO staff to get it contested. We're keeping it how we called it. Like
Yeah.
we try to keep the peace and keep things balanced where it's like, okay, let's they just want someone else to a second opinion. They want a second opinion from another judge to make sure that that's what was called and it was called correctly, because there's a lot of untrust, I feel, within the community. A lot of people just end up not trusting the judges and think of them as being incompetent, and that's not the case at all. It's just, for lack of better terms, you're being an asshole.
Yeah. It's like, I think they see it. It's not just incompetence. Sometimes I think some way they feel like the judges are being malicious, like maliciously saying that they lost, and it's not. I'm glad that this came up because I'll say it now. I know you said you were leaning towards it. For my tournaments, that is how it's going to be, from going forward, because it's like my last two tournaments. And this is what I was talking on, and when I was saying like deck was taking too long or the tournaments were taking too long, but I found it's mainly these contesting, because we'll have someone who contest their match. My attention is completely focused on that. I'm not calling out other matches at that point in time, or if it's the last match of a round, we're waiting nearly 15, 20 minutes trying to get a resolution on. The judge has already made this decision, but they're not technically arguing, because I say don't argue with the judges, but you're contesting and you're like, well, hey, look at this, look at this. We could sit there all day looking at that match. By the time, like when we look at it the first time, it's like, hey, there's a clear winner. After we looked at it like 20 times after that, it's like, dude, I don't know anymore, and it's like, it gets like, because you get fatigued, like you get eye fatigue, and it's like, man, I mean, I guess maybe, but I want to get away from that so much. For one, it's not a enjoyable experience for the organizer or the judges, but even more so, it's not a good experience for the community there, because they're sitting around while someone is complaining or upset. And it's like, I was looking in the crowd and I see parents that are kind of like, sighing, rolling their eyes. Their kids are like waiting to play and things like that. And it sucked. So it's like, I looked through the rule book. I hit up Mike, and we don't have anything like the second opinion, because when I came in, that's how we played. It's one of those unspoken rules, but that's not in the rule book. We don't have to. It's the judge. The judge makes the call. If the judge wants a second opinion, they can ask for one if they're clear, but it's not the player. But beyond that, it's like, hey, the judge makes the call. If you feel so strongly about it, the judge can send you the video footage or the official video footage, and then you can contest that. And that's just what I'm going with. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to seem like, oh, he's a jerk, or why can't, like, if it's malicious or something malicious, like someone is maliciously cheating or something crazy going on, which I have seen, but it was never from the judges. I've never been in an instance where a judge maliciously said, like, this player lost when they clearly won. I have never seen that in all the tournaments that I've been to or hosted. But I have seen like cheating with players. If that happens, yeah, I can handle that right then and right there. But disputing these KOs or disputing like the outspends and stuff like that, I feel like right now and going forward, like that's going to stop at my events.
That's good. Take control of it, man.
Yeah, I like, the thing is like, you get some people that get like, they don't start arguing, but they have like this aggressiveness to them, and you're just kind of like, you just want to get the situation quelled as quickly as possible and just move on. But it's, it's getting to a point where it's getting a little ridiculous, and that's where, like I said, I'm never going to, allow that again. It's just going to be, look, if you have an issue with it, take it up with the WBO staff. If you want to cause a bunch of ruckus, get out.
Yeah. Because it's like, dude, you're spoiling it. I had an event one time. I won't say the location. This was quite a while ago, and I had my judge, Archipald, shout him out, and he was getting, like, there was actually a parent disputing it, and to the point that Arca, like, he made his call, and then like the parent was going back and forth with him so much, like Arca forgot what even happened in the match, and I felt bad, and I went over there to talk to talk to the dude, but the dude, like you said, is it's like they're not arguing, they're just like disputing, but it's to the point to where it's like, look, people are starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like we have to stop this. And I would let it ride because I didn't want anyone to feel like, hey, we were cheating them, because I wanted them, I wanted them to be able to come back and feel like things are fair. But I'm saying it right now, things are fair. And if you don't come back because you feel like people are cheating and you just want to argue, I would honestly prefer that you didn't come back, because if you're going to be toxic like that, you're going to ruin it for the little community that we have now. And for us to grow bigger and stronger, we have to get along and get through this. We'll have another tournament a little bit later, stack up your Beyblades, get better combos, or like work on your launch and stuff like that, and come back next month.
Yeah, and
Right.
I think one of the whole things with it all too is I think a lot of contesting happens because of the ranking system. And I wanted to get Beyblade's 101's opinion on the ranking system itself.
Do
Like,
you
how
want
do you
to?
feel about it?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
How
I
do
was
you
thinking
feel
about
how do you feel about the ranking system for the
Okay.
WBO?
All right. So one of the main reasons why I have a bunch of factors why I wanted to become a WBO organizer. I've talked about it previously, but another one of the reasons I forgot to bring up previously was there was a ranking system, and I love that there was a ranking system. At least when I first saw it, like a first impression was like, okay, so it will determine how skillful you are against other bladers. I thought it was perfect because there are regular bladers here, and we want to know who's better than like the other blader, like who's better and who's like not as good, and we kind of want to improve. We're competitive in that way, and I thought WBO was perfect for that because of the ranking system. But the more I realized, the ranking system is quite flawed, actually pretty flawed. Uh, for one, like right off the bat, in the burst, like for example, burst and metal fight is split, right, for the ranking. But in the burst itself, there's burst GT, there's burst like burst standard, burst GT, burst limited, burst classic, and everything's grouped under burst. So that alone kind of like, I don't know, like it doesn't really show. Like if I host more tournaments, like if I host more burst standard than GT, for example, like my friend might, like player A might lose like a lot of burst standard, but he's super good at burst GT. But
Yeah.
he's very below just because he sucks at burst standard, for example. And I don't know, I don't think that's fair. I think it's
Yeah.
pretty flawed. I think it should at least be a separation. I mean, it can combine like as a general thing, but like at the same time, there should be a like separation as well for like people who want to see individual
Yeah.
rank.
How do
Secondly,
I was gonna
sorry,
say I was gonna say, what do you think about like a reset, like an
I'm
annual
cool with
reset?
it. In when Gen X Beyblade X comes out, I think I'm okay. But I'll get to that after like my second point, which is the okay. Another reason why I think it's flawed, right? The ranking is because of the lack of standardization. I thought it would be pretty standardized. I mean, it's fine that first stage can be a bit different, like P3C1, 3-on-3. But like a lot of times, I don't know how to describe it. It just doesn't feel very standardized compared to what I initially thought. I'm glad the finals. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad the finals is 3-on-3 deck, but
Just to all the different formats that we have, it doesn't feel like
yeah,
number one could be number one if they only played classic, or if they
mm,
only played like standard, but you wouldn't know, because it's just like you said, like we had number one ranked blader. We'll say Crisis Crush is number one ranked blader. But let's say, for instance, all he plays is classic, and then he comes down to a tournament in standard, and everyone's like, "Oh man, that's the number one weight brainer," and he goes 0-5 because he cannot play standard at all. And it's like,
yeah.
what's the point of you? I mean, it's not like what's the point of your rank, but it's like that's not a real reflection of how good you are, because it's like we can't really differentiate that.
Also, like in I guess the first stage, I kind of like that there's different options too, but also it kind of removes a bit of standardization, so I think it's okay. It's like the P3C1, 3-on-3 or 1-on-1. Because some people do better, like way better in like 3-on-3. Some people do way better in P3C1. I think I do quite good in P3C1, but I don't think I'll do as good as in 3-on-3, though I've never tried.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's options, I guess. It's like it's a good thing there's options, but standardizations is compromised, I guess.
So what you're saying is ranked tournaments you feel needs to be standardized where it's the same all across the board.
Yeah, as much as possible.
Right.
Or at least if there's different options, the ranking for the different options should be different.
Right.
Yeah, they'll be the best, but I don't know if it's possible.
I
mean,
think
any edit to the WBO might crash, might just nuke the entire website at this point. So
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that
we
is
still
one
don't
thing.
have a Buzz GT button.
Yeah, we need a new platform is what we need.
I was
Yeah,
definitely thinking on that. I can't remember if I think I said it before because I do like what you said about the deck format, and I do feel like this. I feel like whether you play deck format in classic, limited, standard, or even if you're playing metal fight or plastics, it shows your comprehension and your skill with Beyblade, and that could be even if we merge them all, like that could be have its ranking. And if I was to do it, I would have that as the universal ranking, like your universal Bey rank. It just shows how much you play Beyblade and how skilled you are with Beyblade as a whole. And but this is something that would crash the site because as far as the reset goes, like that could be done yearly or seasonally, but it would have everything split. So from limited Metal Fight limited to Metal Fight, what is it, standard? I would
yeah,
imagine. Metal Fight
yeah.
standard. Then you have Burst Limited,
Energy.
Burst Classic, Burst GT, Burst Standard, and it's essentially like two different ones, but you have all these rankings with these other things, and um, the reason for that is because you can really it that does create the standardization, so you could really see who's on the top. And now, granted, that's a lot of work for the staff that we have, and they work for free. And plus, it's a lot of load on the old forum website that the WBO is on. But if we were able to get like some platform that had the rankings and we could put the structure.
In an ideal scenario, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have gotten to this point when it comes to the ranking of I don't really care about anyone else's ranking. All I care about is seeing my progression. Did I progress?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
because the unfortunate thing is like we said, there is no standardization to it. And without there being a standardization, like I can't tell, who is actually better than what. All I can see is if my number goes up, that means I'm doing better than what I was the previous day.
Yeah. That's a life. That's deep, Mike. It's like, yeah, you don't have any outside. Your greatest opponent is yourself. I like that.
Yeah. Like that's the only way I've looked at it. Like I always just set like a personal goal now. Like my next like right now, like we have a tournament here in about an hour and 15 minutes. And I'm just hoping that I can do well enough to where I don't go negative on points and I can hopefully get higher than Henwuja.
Yeah.
And then from there it'll be K and then Justin TC. Then once I'm there, like my goal is to stay there. It's just I just have to play and do good to stay there and not see a regression.
don't hibernate though.
But no.
Yeah.
I refuse to stop playing just because of Bay rank. That is the most
Yes.
dumbest thing I've ever heard people do.
I will say
Yes,
that, and I respect you, Mike, because I was thinking the other day, like a lot of the higher ups, and when like we talk about contesting and stuff like that, like I've never the tournaments that I've been to with you, dude, you if you lose, you lose, and it's like what you said up here before, like you don't let it get to you, it doesn't bum you out, and there's a lot of players like that, but with your high ranking status, because a lot of the higher ranked players that I see, dude, if they lose, it is you got to deal with something. It's like God, like you're judging their match, and you're like, man, I hope this is okay, because if there's any questions or any disputes that could be asked, they're going to ask them. But I don't see that from you, and I do appreciate that. I like that you have your rank.
Very, very rarely do I contest something. Like I will only contest something if like I see the footage or something, and I'm like, that one might be a little too close. I think I would just like like there to be a second opinion. But I
Yeah.
mean, if I start doing the thing where I don't let anyone else contest, I'll never contest either. Then I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah,
know?
and like I said, I can respect that because it'll be like fair across the board. And I am um I would say I am the same way, and it's going to be the same thing. Like if no one's contesting, then yeah, I'm not going to be the one person like, well, I'm organizing this, I'm going to contest. Like no, if no one's contesting, it's no one's contesting, and then it's like no matter how I feel about it, it is what it is. If I lose those points, like yeah, it sucks. Um, but I'll be able to get them back or continue to keep grinding. Um, and I do respect that. Thank you for continuing to play even at your high bay rank and playing like consistently. Like yeah, you're not going into hibernation and taking some hiatus.
Oh, sorry guys, hold on. I need to take a bathroom break. Give me a
So
minute.
yeah, I
Sorry,
know
guys, random.
we
Hold on.
talked for a while, but yeah, Mike. So I guess I guess I wanted to ask him probably when he gets back about his thoughts on Burst as well as what were we saying, Burst versus Metal Fight. But we don't really have to ask. I'm still like I got an adrenaline rush from thinking about us being able to have the WBBA tournaments, or even if Hasbro wanted to work with WBO to be able to have something a little bit more standard and structured. Like we need Hasbro on board, like to say the least. Because if Hasbro's on board, like it gets rid of all the legal complications with other stores. It gets rid of any issues as far as like, hey, can we host or how we host? Like it could promote competitive Beyblade in North America so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I think, I mean, ultimately, like the more I've been playing through the WBO, I'm getting more comfortable with how things are and not really wanting to super change a lot super fast like I was.
yeah,
Like I do see there's a lot of stuff that should be changed, but I'd rather just play the game and just adapt to what these rules are than try to get the rules to be what I think is fair. Because you know what, honestly, I'm not on staff. It doesn't matter at the end of the day what I think is fair. It matters what they think is fair.
yeah, man. I was about to put up a post because after like I said, like last couple of tournaments, and I was reading back through the rule book, and even Fireblader's last episode, he was like, dude, he has no disputes, and when you come and you just play, I've gotten on the same path. I don't know, maybe we're becoming more mature in our competitive thing. I don't know, to where we're just like, hey, man, I want to play, instead of fighting, because at the end of the day, we are still playing on that consistent platform. My post was going to be like, look, because as the rule book is, as it's written, like it's pretty fair. There's some things that we have disputed, and it was like, hey, we'd like to see this and we'd like to see that, but at the end of the day, we go out there and play. We had the freedom to play the format that we want to play, and we could just have fun with Beyblade. And I think that matters in and of itself. Um, yeah, yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, I want to bring up uh a counterpoint to the argument I have, because there's some people that talk to me and like they kind of have a valid point about ranking. Is that about the standardization thing? Sometimes it's also good to not be standardized, because think about it. What kind of determines your skill as a blader? Does it mean you have to be skilled to play like in one way of Beyblade? What if it's like multiple ways of playing Beyblade? What if people are skilled in playing 5G, right? Like
Uh-huh.
5G format, for example, and that cannot be ranked even though they're really good at it. Should they deserve to be ranked? Kind of thing, you feel me?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
some people are just better at playing a slightly different format than what WBO offers, and since it's slightly different, in if we do not if we go with the standardization route, then these people will be left out, even though they're pretty good players. While we're compromising on standardization, we're at least being more inclusive,
yeah,
which is a valid point to bring up from just now. I think it kind of needs to be considered as well, in my opinion. Although I'm more towards standardization, but it's I give a spare thought to the people who have the point of like inclusivity as well.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's where my whole thing is. I think like the Yu-Gi-Oh approach I feel is better, where you don't have anything ranked and it's just you have big tournaments, and those big tournaments like regional qualifiers and nationals and stuff like that is where you find out who the more skilled players are.
Mhm. They have I will say on that point, like the WBO, that is something they do extremely well, where it's all inclusive. So we spoke on it a little bit before with the WBBA in Japan, and even some other areas where adults can't play, but the WBO is something that's like all ages can play. And
Mm.
and I really like that. I really appreciate that because it is inclusive. And then it's like, hey, if you don't like the burst format, you don't have to play burst. You can play metal fight. You don't like metal fight, you can play plastics. Whatever sparked your fancy whenever you got into Beyblade, like you have the opportunity to play that and to have a tournament with it, and you could have some base structure and some big base rulings for that. It's an option to put your tournament up on the platform as long as you're an organizer, ranked or unranked, and to have fun with your buddies and friends. And the WBO is a gateway for that.
Yeah.
Makes it that area is pretty sweet. I do have one more question while it's on my mind with the WBBA. When they had the world finals and things like that, or like the world championship, for the
Qualifiers?
Asian games, I think that's what it was.
Asian Games?
Or I think it was held in Korea the last time it was, like
Oh,
2019.
okay. Yeah. I mean, just okay. Korean. Yeah, Korea Cup. Okay, you would call it
Yeah.
just the South Korea Cup. Yeah, that's what we
Oh, that's
refer to it in
my bad.
Singapore, at least. Yeah, no worries, no worries. I'm not sure if they call it different in other countries.
They
We just say G1 for South Korea.
okay,
That's it.
G1 tournament, but there were different countries representatives going to that event, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Or what? Just the G1 for Korea?
Wait, can you elaborate? Can you repeat the question and
Mike,
yeah.
do you know what I'm talking about? Because I might not be explaining it well.
I think what he's asking is when they had that tournament, was that more or less like a world championship where representatives from each different WBBA country went and played, or was it just Korea, like Korea's national tournament?
No. Yeah, it was definitely international. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
So
were like, how did they structure it as far as the qualifications for people to be able to go?
qualifications. In first place, you need to be 12 and under. So right off the bat, I couldn't participate. Okay, but I just came to support the people there. But a lot of adults came to support as well. Okay, so qualifications 12 and under. Secondly, you just need to be a citizen of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just to enter the qualifiers. Okay. The admin, and legal issues aside. Now, it's the tournament, the G1 tournament is structured elimination. Yeah, so you just gotta make your way to the top, and
Okay.
then there'll be a finals. The qualifying is 1-on-1, and the finals is 3-on-3. I
Okay.
believe so. Yes.
So did y'all have a representative from Singapore?
Sorry.
Did you have a representative from Singapore? Did someone from
Yeah.
Singapore?
I think every country who participated will send a representative to Korea. I believe so. Yeah. It's quite
Was
a long time ago. I can't remember how many. I think 2 people from each country were sent. At least for the Paris one, it was 2 people sent from each country.
now
Korea, I think it
oh
was
my
two
bad.
too.
Yeah,
Sorry.
did they have to compete in a series of tournaments, or was just in Singapore y'all
One.
just had like a G2 tournament and whoever won that got to go? Or
Yeah,
okay,
the latter. Yeah.
okay.
It was just one tournament, not really a series of tournaments. That'd be cool though to have a series of tournaments. That's a good idea, but I don't think they would do that because they like to do like one grand atrium event, like in the middle of a shopping mall. Then
Okay.
they'll just do the qualifying and just send whoever the winner is.
Yeah,
The top two, I believe. Yeah.
that's
So
solid.
far we have three in burst. We have three, right? International events. Japan for the Japan, for the South Korea, and for Paris, right? Not in order, but
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, the Paris one was big, the biggest actually.
All
Yeah.
right. I have to get ready to get going. If you guys want to continue talking, go ahead. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'll just listen to later on. I got to get ready to go so I can go help Kirito set up and start this tournament.
Yeah, it's all good. And
Yeah.
sorry to the listeners. This was there's a lot going on today, but there's a 12-hour difference that we have with Beyblade 101, so we get it in as we can. And I'm not gonna hold you up too much longer. Yeah, Mike, man, go and enjoy it. And we'll
Good
be
luck,
close.
man.
Thank
Huh?
you.
I'll be looking at challenge later to see your progress.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, brother, man.
All right, I'll catch you guys later. See you, everyone.
All right.
See ya. Thank you. All
Yeah,
right.
so I didn't really have too much more. I mean, it was just topics on like your opinions on burst versus like metal fight and stuff like that. But
Oh no, carry on. Yeah, I love to talk about it. Really.
All right. So
Bro, like just a bit of tangent. My sleep schedule is really messed up. Right, so I'm awake in the middle of the night. Trust me, when I say
Yeah.
I'm okay. And
Yeah.
my lessons are in the evening, so that kind of it doesn't solve school doesn't solve my sleeping issue. So it's
Yeah.
sleep schedule. So carry on.
I got the same issues. So I guess since you've been playing from Metal Fight all the way into Burst, you've been playing for quite some time. I know when I talk to a lot of the Metal Fight players, they don't like Burst as much, or they don't like the Burst mechanic. And when I started playing Metal Fight, I started looking at the Burst mechanic as maybe a unnecessary mechanic in competitive play. Like I could be right or wrong with this because I just like the way that when I played with the Metal Fight Beyblades, like there was a clear definitive winner. I didn't have to stress or worry about like the burst. I felt like I had more freedom and it was a little bit more standard with playing. Like I could be wrong with that because I haven't had as much experience. But what are your likes and dislikes
Definitely.
versus Metal Fight?
I would like to say, first of all, Burst is definitely much more experimentative, like compared to Metal Fight. The
Mm-hmm.
easiest way to see it is how Metal Fight, the performance tips. It's always based on flat, sharp, ball, or defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think majority, except for the 40 tips, majority I cannot think of one that's not based on either four of these. Right, so everything is kind of based. There's at least there's some sort of standard, like compared to Burst, where it's very experimentative. Like a lot of drivers are very weird and wacky. We have things like Quest, Hold, weird gimmicks, right? Like All Might, etc., etc. So like off the bat, like I kind of see that why Metal Fight players may not like Burst as much. This is just my opinion, of course, but
Yeah.
Burst is definitely much more like wacky. I think you said it right just now.
Yeah. With the
Much
gimmicks,
more
but
gimmicks.
yeah. It's like
Yeah.
go ahead.
No. Carry on.
Yeah, it was like because I think that's what I was noticing as I was playing the Metal Fight versus like playing with Burst. Like I was seeing like a lot of the gimmicks, not just with the Burst. Well, honestly, I was just seeing it really with the Burst mechanic, but I also know like we have issues with some of the LAD matches, just some weird and wild things happening with Burst. And when I watch, I think you posted a video and you were like, "This was truly a Burst moment." It was either on your Instagram or something like that.
Yeah, it was amazing. This is truly a
Yeah. I
There-
saw that, and then it just got my wheels turning because when I look at Metal Fight and I think about I have the competitive standpoint, but I also think competitive as a player, but I also think of when I'm organizing, judging, like hosting and things like that, and making the enjoyable experience for everyone overall. Now, when little kids come and it's their first tournament, they're having a lot of fun. But I think they would have fun even if the game was a little simpler or more balanced, like I saw with Metal Fight. And plus, sometimes like you had kind of spoke on this with all the wildness with bursts. Like once we got the DB and everything those Beyblades can do from high mode, low mode, you need to have your armor.
Every single
That
DB bay had a gimmick. Yeah.
yeah, and it was like, man, this is
I guess Ultimate. I don't know if Ultimate had a gimmick, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. It yeah, I don't know if it did either, but it was like when
Variable dash does it count? It's an old gimmick though.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, and with that, it was like there's just it's so much, and it's like this is fun to play. Like if we were having like us like for kids, like having a sleepover, you get together with your buddies, and don't get me wrong, it's still fun, competitive, but I was thinking in a way of just having it a little bit more simple and balanced. So I guess that will carry into because we didn't get to speak on it with Mike, but I got your thoughts on that, but with Beyblade X, like, what are some of the things that you're hoping for with Beyblade X? How do you want it to go?
Oh dang! For Beyblade X, I heard it's gonna be different, like from vanilla. Is
Mhm.
that I've honestly not heard a lot of the leaks. It's just from what people say, rumors and stuff like that. To be very frank, I have no expectations whatsoever.
You don't have any?
No, cause uh, I really don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I heard it's gonna be wild, and the point system's gonna be different or whatever. And they might even turn away from vanilla gameplay. Like they might do something funky with the stadium. Like the standard stadium's just gonna be different. Who knows? I mean, I don't know, right? Or whatever. So at this point, I'm just like, okay, whatever comes, whatever goes. I'm just gonna play Beyblade X the way it is. Whatever my opinions on Beyblade X is, it's still Beyblade at the end of the day, and I will play it because I just enjoy Beyblades.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
damn, my opinions on Beyblade X, nothing. Whatever comes,
Oh, good. Yeah. When
I'll
it
just
comes
play it,
out,
man.
yeah, we'll just see it when it
But
gets there.
yeah. I'll make more of a detailed opinion when it comes. Yeah.
Yeah.
As of right now, maybe my hopes are not towards the gameplay. Okay, yeah, I remember something. I hope that meta parts will be accessible and cheaper than burst.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would
That's
hope for that as well. I think though, just because it's still a business and to
yeah,
cartoon and
definitely.
yeah.
I'm not asking for like the impossible, but I mean look at Metal Fight. Well, things like Rubber Flaps release very often,
Uh-huh.
and like they care about the competitive scene. At least from like from a burst main, I can see that like they did care about the competitive scene back then in Metal Fight. The way they released like that Super Deck set with Libra and Pegasus, you
I'm
can
not
literally just
go ahead.
sorry.
I'm not as familiar with it with the metal fight, but go ahead. You good.
Yeah, but there was I think like a couple like I think it was when they released 3-on-3 for like tournaments, and they had they released that Libra Pegasus, and it was just basically that 3 base that came with it, right? The combo itself was already meta. You can literally participate in a tournament and win with those 3 base. I think that was pretty cool. That was like a sign of how Takara Tomy really cared about the competitive scene and like how they want to make it accessible to an average person to just get in and just compete and win.
Yeah.
But like in burst, like you buy 3 base, like the Fusion DX set is $90 here, by the way, $90, and it's not even enough for you to compete in 5G tournaments because you need 2 more base. And if you buy the
Yeah.
wrong, if you buy the wrong 2 base, you still can't compete because the armors might be repeated.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's literally not accessible. You can spend over $100 and still not be able to participate in a tournament just because the armors are repeated. Because the Fusion DX set come with what armors did it come with? 10 and
I can't remember all the armors
10 and
that
2.
but I know people want it so much just because of that
Yeah.
bearing driver.
Yeah, very true. But like
Yeah.
to all the new bees in the new bees in like 5G, like WBBA, like they can't even participate if they buy the $90 set. And then if they
Yeah.
buy the wrong base, like for example Guilty Longinus, it has the 2 armor, right?
Yeah.
And the DX also had 2 armors. Like, they literally can't play.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't
It's
even think about.
inaccessible, expensive, and I know that Takara Tomy sees it as a cash cow. It's very, very obvious from the start. When bursting was already a gimmick, you realize that, oh, won't it wear? And it does. And it forces people to buy more. Already I saw it as a cash cow. I think Takara Tomy knows that. They're just trying to capitalize it because Beyblade Burst is ending. So to those like small percentage people who care about Beyblade Burst, TT is just
Yeah.
essentially us forcing us to buy more parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
I
even
hope it
think about.
doesn't happen for Beyblade X, although I mean it might happen. I know it's a business, but it's just wishful thinking, yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice. It would be sweet to have well, actually, I didn't even think about the whole thing with the armors because I'm typically thinking about the layers and the cores and like the
Now the
drop.
armors mess everything up because for new players they don't know what armor is, and then because we kind of have to enforce rules, right? So
Hmm.
when they have repeated armors, we just
Yeah,
look at them. Sorry,
I,
man, you can't use this. Most of the time, like I'll loan out parts though. I don't mind, especially like if there's armor difference, right? My favorite thing to do is just lend them a greatest Raphael. It just solves everything.
yeah,
You have repeated
armor.
armor, just take my greatest Raphael, bro. No armor.
Yeah, that's the solution. Yeah, I didn't. I forgot about that. Yeah, and that is like a kind of a cash cow type thing because you can't have repeating parts. Even in WBO, you can't have repeating parts.
Hmm.
And if like yeah, you might have 3 different Beyblades, but then yeah, you got to think about that armor. Like the
It's
disc.
very obvious that
Yeah.
5G was a cash cow. Like from the start, when they introduced 5G, I already knew it was a terrible idea to beginners. I don't like 5G.
Oh, you
I forgot
don't?
to bring it. No, I
Oh man.
dislike 5G to the core. I rather run one-on-one than 5G. And
Ooh,
I
man.
don't like one-on-one.
Yeah, I didn't.
5G, okay, not only it is inaccessible and expensive to newer customers and players, it spreads out all the good parts.
Mhm.
And holy moly, there's not a lot of good parts in Burst. Everything's the same.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
meta at this point is defined. Burst standard is very linear. Your S tier attack layers is guilty. And
Hmm.
I guess means Cypher, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
And thankfully we're using the uh standard stadium in Singapore because holy hell, if you're using
The
DB
DB.
Stadium, bro, it's literally just wind and dynamite plus F. And I guess vanish, world, and what the hell do you use?
Well, you have Vanish World, Wind. That
Wind, Dyna plus F.
do y'all would you wouldn't use Guilty and DB?
It's like B tier, B, A minus tier, B tier. Holy
Yeah,
hell, terrible
uh,
meta. Don't like 5G at all.
yeah.
Like it,
I didn't. I think you because we talk about that like the WBBA formats and we talk about like spreading things out. We have our buddy Shendog. He doesn't like. He prefers 3v3 or 3G over 5G because it's like start to spread out too many parts. And with hearing from you and that just getting that insight into it, like yeah, I could see that, and it's definitely being a cash cow. So I could see that being frustrating. And then also with the DB Stadium. So do you like or dislike it?
I used to hate it, but after private tournaments with DB stadiums, I dislike it.
You
uh,
yeah.
it went from hatred to dislike.
It's
But I
not
believe
as
that DB Stadium, uh, instead of relying on, like, how do I say it? It's not relying on like how you play, like the gameplay itself. I think DB Stadium forces people to strategize. Assuming we're playing 5G, right? Like in Japan, WBBA. DB Stadium kind of forces people to strategize, make sure they get their first, second, third, fourth, fifth bay in like the right order,
Mhm.
and also heavily focuses on balance tuning. I know it applies in standard as well, but in DB Stadium where like there's no knockouts or anything, it's literally just pure stamina. You really have to balance tune your base well. I learned that because I accidentally balance tuned my Devil plus F Lucifer. It's
Mhm.
really balance tuned. Like I use a purple 10 armor. And people say
Yeah.
purple 10 is not the best, right? But I've not in the DB Stadium, like private tournaments, I've so far not lost in sim spin.
Oh dang. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're tuning, you're spending a lot of
Accident. That was
time.
my accident, bro. My devil was purple, my Lucifer was purple, and the purple 10 was purple. I was like, very cool. Okay, let's put it together. And holy hell, it literally, like, it was the most stable Beyblade I've ever seen in my entire life.
Mm.
Yeah, so it didn't lose same spin. It lost like opposite spin, world drift, whatever. Sure, I'll take that loss. But against same
Yeah,
spin,
that happened. Yeah.
in the matches itself, never lost the same spin. Yeah. So it kind of got me thinking, like it kind of forced everyone, like I believe if you play DB Stadium like properly, it will force you to kind of strategize your parts and force you to balance tune, and also like the spread out parts, right? You really have to think about it. Which of your good discs have to go to which bay? Like there's only like over illegal for your stamina stuff. Then the rest you have to use your spread, spread dash, giga, uh, last one, fortress, I guess, or
Mhm.
karma, whatever. Yeah, so you gotta think about it. Yeah, it kind of forces you to strategize outside of the gameplay. So that's what I think the DB Stadium is trying to push you to achieve.
Well, that's a pretty
Yeah.
like nice like silver lining way to look at it, because I know most of the debate or the argument against it was that it kills attack, which I mean you pretty much said that you're
Yeah,
going to
you kill attack. Yeah, but that's like we beat that to death already. Everyone knows he kills
yeah
attack. I'm
yeah
bringing a different point
yeah
to illustrate why I dislike it. Yeah.
yeah, and that's well that is unique because even on your point it's like well yeah it will admit like yeah it does kill attack, like that is what it is, but it also forces you to look at stamina in a new light, to where you have to balance tune, you have to make sure that you put in the time and the effort to be able to play, or you just won't do well in that stadium at all.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful, that's a nice outlook to have on it. Yeah, I
I
guess
dislike it though, but yeah, I guess it's beautiful if you put it that way.
it's still pretty dope. I have grown to, because I wanted to push for the DB Stadium and I liked it when it came out. But I will admit I do enjoy now at this point in time playing standard more, just because and that's probably because I started playing with attack, and you can still balance tune and do those things. Like it is encompassing of all formats. It's not just strictly stamina. Like attack still has some validation within that stadium. I know you said you didn't like the Beyblade, or you didn't have an opinion on the Beyblade X. Mike, we talked about it, I think, on the last show, where they said the stadium it might be a little gimmicky, which I will say now, like I kind of don't want it. Like we're gonna have to wait till
Yeah,
it's
I
come
don't
out,
want
but
it either. But I guess if we have to force to use it, well, I'm like whatever, sure.
yeah, because I think at the end of the day, we're playing Beyblade. That is a benefit. Another benefit of with WBO is that we could still play the standard one, unless they want to take it away. But it's just hard to
Yeah.
get stadium now, and they're so expensive.
Wait,
Spending like $70 to buy one, and they're so hard to get. So it's
at
really
the
on.
very least, the B09s they don't break as like BB10s, so
Yeah,
you can keep them for a while. Yeah.
yeah,
If you have a B09, you can keep it for quite some time. So okay, I'm happy with it. I have two B09s.
yeah. I have quite a few. It's only going to be trouble when we get like brand new organizers, like organizers coming in now and trying to get
Yeah.
them here. Because they're so hard to get, and you spend a lot of money, and if they do break or whatever happens to it, then that's kind of like the end of your standard tournament stage. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping in the least that the new stadium, even if it does have a gimmick, it's not something that throws things completely out of whack. Like it can be something a little bit more simple. And I will say this, like even I know that Takara Tomy is like right now they were with the cash cow thing with 5G and even like the DB bays and releasing all these different parts and gimmicks and stuff. But if their sales do start going down, they may start looking in a different way to be like, hey, maybe the competitors aren't happy, the community isn't happy. We need to have another focus. And I hope they will do that. If it does turn that way, but we'll see at the end of the day.
Yep. I mean, at the end of the day, they're running a business, so you
Yeah.
can't hope for everything.
100%. So, yeah, so we're coming up on time, but I wanted to ask, do you have any specific questions that you have for either me or Mike? I know he's not here, but I may be able to answer them. Or did you have any shout outs that you want to give or any topics?
Shout outs. I want to shout out to all my regulars for
Yeah.
keeping Beyblade alive. I couldn't have done it without them. Definitely. I think every single one of my regulars has played a part to really keep Beyblade alive. And also shout out to Joe, one of my friends. He's a he's an adult. He's a father of like 2 kids. Basically during COVID, there was no tournaments, right? But he ran private tournaments. With the COVID regulations in place, of course. But he ran private tournaments. Try to keep the community alive, and a lot of the Singaporean regulars agree that he helped to maintain the Singapore Beyblade community during COVID. Because even I didn't host tournaments back then, but yeah, it's cool that he did. He did it because I think his kids are also wanting to play Beyblade. So I don't think I'll be here right now if it wasn't for him. Like I'll be very honest right now. I was in a fatigue at that time.
That's solid. That's solid. Yeah, shout out
A
to
lot
him.
of people. Yeah, shout out to Joe, man. He's solid, bro.
Yeah.
That's what, man.
Um,
What's up? Other than that, shout out to the WBO. Yeah, he gave me new
yeah.
opportunities to meet Beybladers online overseas. Like just like you and Mike and really everyone else. WBO staff, they're amazing organizers.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
really, thank you for giving me this opportunity, man.
Yeah. I like I said, like I was really happy to get you on the show. I love talking with international bladers to get different viewpoints from things going on in your community. It gives the overall community and everyone who listens to the show insight on you as a person, as a blader, and I appreciate that. And like I said, like I had a lot of respect for like a lot of things you said up here today. Even beforehand, like with deck format being the WBO standardization and what you just spoke on the DB Stadium, like yeah, it takes away attack. We've argued that to death, but it makes you focus on having those better stamina combos and just doing things like that. And even when you spoke on 5G, because I didn't even think about the armors and how troublesome that could be. So having all that insight, man, I really appreciate that. It helps me to appreciate Beyblade and look at it in a different light from just speaking with different members of the community and various communities in itself. And definitely the whole store thing with the WBBA, I think that's definitely got me the most hype because I really like that outlook and communities and things like that. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you too.
Yeah. All right. So everyone, thank you all for listening. It's Beyblade 101. Oh, after the show, give me your Instagram, and if you have a YouTube or any of your social platforms that you want me to promote, I'll put them in the description below.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening. This was an enjoyable show. I know Mike had to leave early. Tournaments, like we really lived this Beyblade life. So it's what we got going on, and appreciate it. Continue as always to get out there, help your local community. Be like you said, his name was Joe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe. Shout out to Joe. Keep your community together. Keep people involved. Stay cool and take care.
See y'all.